Hello and welcome to ABW Radio. I am your host, Kris, and I have a beautiful candle. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Sorry for the slight delay. Yes, I was indeed watching the Bayern Munich game. I was also trying to set this beautiful little show up, so I do apologise, but that's life. It happens. I'm joined by Tom and I'm joined by John. Good evening to you both.
Hello.
Hello.
You look
Hello.
like a really bad Paul Bearer impersonator from like the early 90s. That's a wrestling reference for all you people out there.
Yeah, although Paul Bearer isn't actually
I actually know the Undertaker.
I was going to say more like yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I'll take it.
I've got a shit cup of tea.
Have you? Should we just talk about your cup of tea for a bit?
It is really horrible, and also I'm gonna show off now. Man of the people. I like mine in a China cup.
And
it
your
tastes
tea?
better. Yeah, and this is just your standard old
Keith
ceramic
Dover
shit.
was the man of the people.
I don't know why.
Danny's just put what is this, a fucking Enigma video? That's very good, Danny. Very good. I suppose we should talk about stuff that people tune in for, really, shouldn't we? Although I don't really see the need, to be fair, because we all kind of saw this coming, didn't we? But never mind. Come on then, let's have your thoughts, boys and girls. Tom, I'll start with you. Predictable? Anything you want to add?
I guess if you take a look at a 3-1 scoreline, you'd say, yeah, that looks pretty much. But to be honest, I thought we played a lot better than I was expecting. I think the scoreline, if anything, flattered Barcelona slightly. I think that we had so many chances, a lot more than I thought we were going to get, that it could have been a lot closer. But as our problem's been for so many times this season, failing to score is just a typical thing of us at the moment. We just haven't got those clinical players, and even the players that we brought in who could score, like Alexis missed some chances, Ozil missed a chance, and Giroud missed a chance, and Welbeck did as well. So plenty of people missed chances. I think that I never thought I'd come out of the game going, well, if we took our chances, we might have been all right. But no, I'm happy with what the result was, and the performance. It's just disappointing about the chances we missed.
Yeah, fair. John, your opinion, do you agree that, okay, yes, we missed chances, but Barca were pretty much playing in second gear the whole game? Would that be fair?
Yeah, they played really bad, to be honest, for them anyway. They weren't at it. I don't watch them week in, week out. I'm not a big fan of Spanish football, but we all know they can play better than that. I know Tom sees them a lot more than I do, but they can play miles better than that. And I thought for all the chances we created, we were shit for the most part, to be honest. Defence was awful. I know everyone's going to go, oh, amazing goals they scored. Yeah, they were good finishes, but it was crap defending.
I'll take obsession with one of those finishes. We'll come to that in a minute.
Oh, I know you don't like him anyway. But yeah, they just put really bad defending. I thought a couple of the players were really lazy tonight. The few bright sparks in the team, I thought Iwobi was very good. Was he 19? Being chucked into that game, really impressive, no fear, trying to do things, made mistakes, but expected when you're that sort of new into the first team. I thought Welbeck was good in parts, but again, the typical thing with Danny Welbeck, tries really hard, makes himself a chance, but then fluffs his lines. Just same old bollocks, really, isn't it?
we should do a podcast or a radio show that's just the same old bollocks, isn't it? It's a good title.
Well, I put a tweet out earlier and it was like something like valiant effort, made lots of chances but didn't take them. On another day, maybe we would have won. And you could copy and paste that tweet and used it for the last 8 years in the Champions League or longer, and it'd probably use them for the next however many years in it as well, because it's just the same thing over and over again. It's just boring to watch, to be honest. And normally I wouldn't mind so much, because even if we're going to get beat, which obviously we did tonight, you get to watch Barcelona play, and they get to they play some really good football. At least you get something good, and they couldn't even be bothered half the time. No. They were just like zip it around a little bit. The best thing in the game was probably the 40-yard ball that Neymar did and Messi plucked out of the sky and then missed his chance, to be honest. And everyone's going to go, great save Ospina. He hit it straight at him. Should have just fucking, sorry. Anyway, Go on.
You just can't give little Dave any credit, can you?
He made a couple of saves. Oh, he did a good. He kicked it over the halfway line tonight as well, and Welbeck should have probably scored from it. That was quite good.
I thought the save from Messi was pretty good, to be fair.
Straight at him. That's Messi. You should finish that. Come on.
Yeah, but reactions from that distance.
He hits it straight at him. It hits his shoulder. That's not an amazing save.
No, I'm not saying it's amazing. It's pretty damn good. Anyway,
I think it's a good save.
Anyway, any of us got any issues with the lineup? I didn't.
I was intrigued by it.
I was a bit annoyed.
Yeah.
Why is Joel Campbell still not playing? Don't like him. Don't think he should be at the club. But why is he not playing?
Because he'll play Saturday. I think that's why.
Well, is Mesut Ozil not playing Saturday?
Oh no, I'm not saying he wasn't, but I think he's saving some of the players that he doesn't necessarily trust to recover in time. I mean, was Mesut Ozil playing tonight? I'm not sure.
That's another question. Sanchez played tonight. He'll play Saturday. Would have thought. Koscielny played tonight. He's only just come back from an injury. He'll play Saturday. You would imagine. Monreal, Bellerin. So, I'm not saying it would have made a huge difference, but go out there and try and win at least.
Yeah. What do you make of Iwobi, Tom? Because I thought a lot of people on social media, I know people moaning on social media, I know that's rare, but a lot of people were saying it was the wrong game to throw him in, and he'd get murdered and it would kill his career and blah 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 blah. I thought he was very good. I thought it was a good time to play him, actually, a game we're probably not going to get anything from. See how he performs at the highest level. I thought he did right.
Yeah, so I think it's the same sort of situation you look at El Neni as well. I mean, but I was completely impressed with how he performed, considering he's only 19 years old. So I think he did all right. He took players on, was pretty confident on the ball. He did more than Ozil did in the game, which you can say quite with confidence as well. So I think that his passing was all right. He had the shot that was blocked also, that he did drag slightly. But no, I think for a 19-year-old to come to a new camp, step up and play like he did, was very impressive. I was a bit intrigued by the decision to put him in the lineup, and I was like, is Wenger really taking this seriously or not? But clearly that he put faith in the kids, and I think he actually got repaid by it. So I think that there's a reason why he's been promoted to the first team now, and I think he is good enough to be playing in our starting lineup, considering his age and the lack of players we have in the squad at the moment. So if he plays against Everton, I'll be completely fine with that.
I think a few people have said they'd like to see him get a game, but we shall see. John, let's have a word about the goals then, I suppose, if we must. The first one, mistake from Koscielny. He wasn't the first person to make a mistake, in fairness. He did look a little bit, I don't like using the word rusty because he's only been out for 3 weeks, but he did look a little bit short of the pace required. Would that be fair?
Maybe, but stop giving the ball away in stupid areas. All night they, I know it's Barca and it's difficult and they're going to press you and stuff, and the way we set up tonight was like we pressed higher up the pitch, so defence is going to have a high line, but Bellerin's out of position for it. Koscielny gives it away. The midfield gave it away too many times tonight. Flamini in particular, before he came off, obviously. Just really bad defending, and then if you give the ball away to players of that quality, they're going to punish you for it. And the worst thing is that even if that was against, say, a lesser side, you're still likely going to concede a goal from that. It was so bad. Like, you look at, say, to the first leg, we were really, really good, and we made 2 cock-ups for their goals, and that was it. But the rest of the night we were perfect. But tonight, we push and we make chances, and sort of the couple of the front players do really well. But the midfield and the defence was all over the place. There was just no cohesion in it at all.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assumption. And the mistakes, like you say, we don't have to give oppositions opportunities, and you really don't want to be given that lot of opportunities. Tom, what did you make of the? I suppose that the performance after we conceded, because we still looked like we had chances, didn't we? I mean, all throughout the game, but in the first half there were a few near misses. I mean, do you think that the team still believed after they'd gone a goal down?
Yeah, so I think it's a bit harsh. I mean, it's not like you can go out and expect our players, when we haven't got a team full of world-class talents like they do, and not for mistakes to happen. Obviously, we want to limit that as much as possible. But at the end of the day, we've got players like Gabriel. We brought in for sub 10 million from Villarreal, and he's still coming on. And you can't expect him to be perfect on the pitch of playing against a team like Barcelona. Of course, mistakes are going to happen. I think Bellerin was at fault for the first goal. He wasn't marking Neymar properly, and he got round him. But I just think that we're putting way too much pressure on the players that we do have, and I know people can turn around and say, well, we should buy better then, but it's not the transfer window. We've got to focus on what we do at the moment. Just worry about the transfer window when it's open. So these players that we got, I thought, put an extremely good performance in, considering who was on the pitch and who we were playing against. I really can't go out and criticise everyone. I thought you have to give credit for the amount of chances we created. It was a shame that we couldn't take them. But to go to the new camp and create the chances that we did, I mean, the chance that Alexis had from the header should have been buried. And they were actually scoring at the new camp with El Neni is brilliant, and it's such a confidence boost. So I think that the team will take a lot of positives from the game. And considering, going back to the question, how we felt after the goal we conceded, I think that we did sort of pick ourselves up. We didn't allow them to score another one, which is important, because when Barcelona scored one, they almost definitely go on to score another, pretty much hit you with both barrels. And I think that we did all right to get back in the game, and I was impressed with how we played.
Yeah. Again, I can't fault. I'm not going to argue with either of you tonight because I can't be bothered. But I think you make some very good points. Sort of sums up the mood a bit, doesn't it? Come on then, John. Let's annoy Kelly. Luis Suarez's fluke. I suppose actually we should probably talk about our goal first, shouldn't we? Really?
We did score one.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Really. All right, let's talk about that first. Then we'll talk about Luis Suarez's fluke. But good finish on Nene, to be fair, wasn't it? Good little take. Nice bit of individual build up. Alexis sort of showing that he can do something other than just cut inside and shoot with a nice little layoff. And yeah, tidy finish. At that stage, I wouldn't have said it was on, but it was. You know, we were in a position where we could build off of it, weren't we?
Yeah, it was still feasibly early enough in the game that we could have got something from. Not even got something. Maybe come back into it. I still don't think the players particularly believed that they could, but it was a good finish. He's tried a couple of shots from distance already in games. He hit the crossbar in one. I can't remember what that might have been, the FA Cup game. And yeah, like you said, Alexis picked him out, which was nice, because I thought the rest of the game he was running into blind alleys and giving the ball away. Not to have a pop at Alexis, because you're not allowed to do that.
No.
So yeah, no, I thought that was good, but I'd imagine that come next season, El Neni will have that coached out of him, and of course he'll look like he's going to have a shot from there, and he'll probably pass it 2 yards to his side, and someone else will do the same thing until they find someone in the right position. Not to put a downer on the goal, because it was a very good finish, but I can't imagine he'll be allowed to do that. No doubt he'll be shown a video of what pass he should have made instead of taking that shot.
Yeah, although it has to be said, the opposition, if I was a Barcelona fan, I'd be quite annoyed at some of their showboating. We'll come on to that in a minute. Tom, that's Suarez goal then. That was what kind of took the wind out of our sails, because I think it Welbeck missed that chance where Mascherano got back. We'll touch on the penalty or not in a minute. Actually, I forgot about that. But
chance.
Yeah, but the Welbeck one, I thought he should have done better personally. I thought he'd got clear of Mascherano, and I thought he took a bit too long. But once we missed that, once that Suarez fluke went in, that was that, and it was a fluke, wasn't it? Hit his shin. It was Rooney against Man City.
It's hit his shin. I still think he's done very well to get up and get his leg over the top of it. But all you got to do is connect with the ball at the end of the day. And he fluked and he got connection with it, and it went in, which is more than you can say for a lot of our players today. So it's unfortunate. The ball was great, but the fact he was free in the middle of the box there is obviously a mistake that's cost us again. But it really did knock us out the sails. I was sitting there with my flatmates like, this is odd. We're 1-1 and there's half an hour to go and we're making chances, and then you could just tell for the rest of the team, it sort of thought, oh well, they've scored now. That's that. So we'll move on to the Everton game. But it was a fluky finish, but I still think it's just one of those things. At the end of the day, as a striker, you just got to get your foot over the ball and get it on target, and he managed to do it, and he got it in the net.
There is a slight difference in the fact that Suarez can make that finish.
Oh yeah.
And also that his body shape was absolutely perfect and he readjusted mid-air for it.
It's not like Yaya's got to go jumping up and do it.
Yeah, he got everything other than the connection quite right, and he still got it in the top corner. That's what you get from being that good at football. But yeah, this just let one of the best strikers in the world just walk through our defence in midfield and no one pick him up at all. Just leave him unmarked, see what happens. That'll be fun. Look, we're losing again.
What we can all agree on, though, just to clarify, is Luis Suarez is a massive bell end. I think we can all agree on that.
Massive bell end who I'd have in my team all day long.
I'm sure I would. I would probably say the same.
Probably.
Well, you know,
wouldn't have Suarez over Giroud.
Of course. I would. I would.
Come on.
No. Let me finish. I'd have them both. I wouldn't have one over the other because I think that's a different.
Oh god.
Different thing. But I do.
Should have gone 40 million and £2. Maybe. Maybe would have gone. That extra pound might have done it.
I won't deny that the talent the kid's got is world class, but he's still a massive twat, and he is still. I still think we'd have had a lot of issues had we have bought him. But hey ho, that's life. And Liam in the chat. God, Liam, get a sense of humour. I'm having a giggle. Good grief, you lot. Seriously, just chillax a little bit. John, that's
I'd be offended if you said chillax to me. Actually, to be fair.
Okay. Sorry, relax. Is that
There
better?
we go.
Sorry, I do apologise. What about the penalty or no penalty? I did kind of skip over that, but what what
that was a dive for me.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't think it was.
I really like Iwobi and he really impressed me, but that looked to me like a dive all day long. He clipped his own heels intentionally going down in the box. I hope I'm wrong, but like every time I saw the replay over and over again, I didn't see any contact whatsoever. Maybe he felt contact. I've got no idea, but I think it's a dive, and I think he's tripped himself up, and he needs to. I hate that. Like, don't get me wrong. If we'd got a penalty and it got us back into the game we'd gone through, I'd be celebrating. I'd be out in the streets and doing it in front of people, falling over and smacking myself in the face. But that's fine. But he didn't, so yeah, don't do that. Naughty boy.
Tom, have your say, and I'll have mine afterwards.
I thought there was contact. I thought that as he was running, you see the leg connect. The edge of Iwobi's left leg connects with Mascherano's shin, which causes it to go back. And as he's running, the stride moves that his leg hits the back of his right leg, and he went over. So I think it is a penalty, and he has clipped him.
I am with you. Sorry, John. Welsh out.
No, you don't have to agree. Someone's just put John doesn't have an HD TV stream. It could well be my eyesight. It just honestly looked like every time I watched the replay, I just couldn't see a touch. He kicked his own foot.
I could see. I don't. That's the bit. That's the only bit I disagree with. I don't think he kicks. I think what basically happened. I think, and I've been in this situation back in probably the early 90s when I wasn't fat, old, and slow. I had a little bit of pace, and back in those days, I used to be one of those sort of players that would sort of when you're playing five-a-side, and I'd be that guy that didn't really have any talent, but I was quite quick. So they used to give me the ball and just say, "Go on, just run at them." I wasn't ever any good. And I think that's what happened here. When you're going at speed, we hear it all the time, don't we? The slightest touch can knock your stride, and I think Tom's right.
Absolute bollocks. You can keep your balance. You're a footballer. You've been trained all your life. He could have stayed on his feet.
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Absolute and utter nonsense.
I don't think so.
Their balance is ridiculous as a professional footballer. They've done it since they're like 8 years old. They've taught how to do it. Their body, it's complete nonsense. Sorry, he could stay on his feet.
I think
he's gone to win a penalty. He's cheating.
I think there's I don't know. I think cheating's wrong. I agree with you that the touch is.
If that was us against Spurs and that was Harry Kane done that, you'd call it a dive.
No, I just call Harry Kane a knob. But no, opinions. I don't think it was a dive. I do think that there was contact.
I'll give him a pass because he's a young kid, but I think it was a dive.
Okay.
Disappointing because I think I thought he had a really good game other than that, but that really annoyed me.
We'll agree to disagree, but
never played football. Oh, cricket. Oh, Jesus, no, I hate cricket. Sorry, someone said I like cricket. Can't stand it. The only thing I like about cricket is 2020 because you can go and get pissed. I don't watch the cricket, I just get drunk.
2020 2020 is quite good fun, I must admit. Unless you get hit with the ball, as I did once.
Just shout at posh people. Drink beer, throw your beer cans at posh people. It's great.
Don't
fun.
alienate posh people, for God's sake. Carl's just put a brilliant thing in the chat there, Chris, over Theo. Yeah, I'd probably give it a bit more than he does. So at 2-1 then, let's come back to the game. So 2-1, it was pretty clear, like Tom said, that any belief that was once a flickering hope like this candle that was there was very quickly extinguished. And then Messi decided to sort of pop up with a third. That was, Tom, very reminiscent of the one that Messi took over Almunia a few years ago, where he sort of left the keeper kind of trying to stand up, not trying to go down, but ultimately just too good on that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that one was more central, but it's certainly like it's the acceleration he gets on the ball when he chips it, because Aspelina can't react quickly enough to then get his arm up, because at the end of the day he can go around him, with around the side of him. He could have passed it across goal, and Aspelina's got to think about all these things, and at the end of the day he's accelerated this chipped lobbed shot, and it's just perfect, and he's done it plenty of times on many occasions, and I've watched him do it. So it was completely like just Messi-esque. So no, but if you want to just bring it back to Ospina and just that, I think Ospina had a good game. Personally, I don't think we would have. You could say at any point, oh, Czech would have done better in that situation. I think he made some top saves. The save we hit it from Messi, which went through Gabriel's legs, and he parred away in the second half. That was a good save. And in the first half was the one from Messi where John thinks he's just shouldered it. I thought that was a good save. So I thought he's had a good game overall, but no, it was a great finish by Messi to finish it off, and the commentary rounded it off beautifully by saying that some people at the Nou Camp only go to watch Messi, and they'll be annoyed if they don't see a Messi goal, so they got to go in with that.
I thought I think Ospina's done very well in all the games he's played. Actually, to be fair, credit where credit's due. I think a lot of people were wrongly, in my opinion, sort of going, "Oh God, Ospina's in goal," and everybody was having their ass in their hand. And I think, to be fair, he's actually looked exactly what he is, the best number 2 in the league. I think he's the best backup goalkeeper in the league right now. So obviously, I don't think he'll be happy with that, but that's what he is right now. So when we needed him, he's been there. We should also just I want to touch, actually, just sticking with you for a minute, Tom. Our crowd get a lot of stick. We've done this one to death, so I don't want to be accused of having a go at the fans again. But our crowd get a lot of stick for their atmosphere, sometimes for the negatives and sometimes for being too quiet. Is it just me, or every game I watch Barcelona in, the only time you really hear them is when Neymar does a ridiculous trick that is not needed, or when they score? That's the only time you hear them. It sounds really quiet to me. Is it just the stadium, or is it just that they're so used to winning?
I think the fans just expect it, don't they? But it was very empty tonight. They said that the bad weather kept a lot of people away, and it was sort of they expected them to go through, so they didn't really feel like it was a big game to turn up for. But I don't know. When I watch them, it is normally loud, and the fans are decent for Barcelona, for fans that just expect to win every week. I think that there is a level of expectation that if you go to watch a Barcelona play, you're going to see a team win. So when we went 1-1, I think it might have taken the crowd back a bit, like saying, "Oh, okay, a team have equalised against us. This isn't normal." So it was strange, because normally the Nou Camp is quite a loud stadium. I'm sure when I speak to people I know that have gone, they'll tell you that it was loud. But yeah, credit to our fans who went. I think that they went and they got to watch a game which was worth going for, in my opinion. If you're going to go watch a team play Barcelona at the Nou Camp, I think that to know your team have equalised and gives you that element of hope, and then still, unfortunately, come away with a loss. But to see the quality that in the goals that occurred, I think was well worth the trip.
Yeah, I agree. And at the end of the day, as you say, fair play to our fans that went over. I think a lot of the people, certainly the 2 people I knew that went over there, were just sort of going, well, we don't expect much, but it's a good trip. We'll enjoy it, and we'll get our money's worth, and we'll still support the club no matter what. So fair play to them. And it's hard to make noise in that ground because you're right at the very top when you go. But I think our fans were very, very good. So fair play to them. Fair play. It's nice of our fans to go away. I mean, City can't even fill their matches for home grounds, can they? Cheap dig.
They're through to the next round, aren't they, City?
Fuck them. Quite frankly, John, fuck 'em. John, let's just touch on the overall sort of performance leading into Everton. Anything that you saw tonight that would alarm you, whether it be fitness wise, whether it be form wise? I mean, I'll swing that both ways. Anything that you think is a good thing looking into Everton, anything that particularly alarmed you on the flip side?
The good thing I would say is Welbeck and Iwobi. The thing that worries me is whether I think Welbeck will probably play. I hope he plays. He should do. I don't think Iwobi gets in the team, sadly. I think he was sort of I can rest players and give him an outing and see how well he does. But he deserves to be in the team. And yeah, Carl's put it perfectly in the chat. The defence. I've got absolutely no faith in that back four at the moment. They seem to be all over the shop. I know that there's sort of the myth that we're bad from set pieces and we're actually like, I don't know, 10th or something in the table in terms of other teams in the league, so we're not as bad as we all think. But that is a worry. The fact we're still struggling to score goals, despite the chances created. Sanchez still doesn't look the way he was last season. Ozil looks at times like he can pull a pass out whenever he wants, but then if things don't go his way or he gets muscled off the ball, he just gives up and he just thinks, "Why am I here?" I think like a couple of times tonight he looked really up for it, and then other times he was just like, "No, I'm done. I can't be. Why am I playing with these players? I should be playing with Barcelona level players." Which is a nice thing to think, Mesut, and you've got all the skill to do it. But if you don't put in the effort, mate, then you can fuck off for all I care. To be perfectly honest, I just got no confidence in we're not convincing in anything at the moment. And I know tonight's a bit different because it's Barcelona and you're not really expecting it. But I thought, you've got nothing to lose tonight, so you can just go out and go for it. And they did to an extent up front. I thought they weren't too bad, and they were pressing high and stuff, and that was great. But at the back, they look so bad. You just think if all the team could do it together at once, then great. And if we went out and we still lost, fine. But if you put in a decent performance, every single player, then great. But they didn't. And that just, coming back tonight, and then we're playing early on Saturday, and after fucking Everton have just smashed Chelsea, and Lukaku's now the greatest striker in the league, apparently even better than Aguero.
Don't start.
Oh,
Anyway,
but yeah, tune in on Saturday when we will win against Everton. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm never going to hire you for PR.
Oh no, everything just feels so miserable at the moment, doesn't it?
I understand now. I understand your point.
If we win on Saturday, it'll all turn around and it's great. And if we get 3 points there, then I'll be on the up and it's like, yes, we can go for it. But it just doesn't feel like there's the belief within themselves. The players don't feel like they've got it within themselves to do it.
I think we will win on Saturday. I'm just going to say that now, just so I'm on record.
You say that every week.
Well, I do, mate.
There you go, people. Chris is jinxing it.
I'm a happy chap, Tom. You know me. Always look on the positives. Tom, just to pick up on what John said before I ask you about another player, just a quick one on Mesut. You a bit worried? I mean, he strikes me as the weird thing is that this time last season when we were bang in form, people were moaning at him because he didn't try hard, right? Then he has a great run of form at the start of the season. Everyone goes, he's brilliant, but still doesn't try hard. Now he's in a bit of a rut of form, and people are moaning because he's now not trying again, or he doesn't. That's unfair. His body language doesn't always look the best. Do you think that maybe he's just a player that just does flick in and out when the team isn't performing, or do you think there's something deeper behind it?
I think that his form is very much, just because he's an assisting player, his form is very much highlighted by the rest of the team, which he finds very frustrating. I think you can see that when he plays. If he plays a pass and someone then messes up, he physically looks just pissed off. Like he's annoyed at the person for ruining his perfect assist and not finishing the chances. So I think that he's quite an easily annoyed sort of guy. I mean, right at the end where Sanchez missed that chance, he could have laid it off to Ozil, and Ozil looked so fucked off with Sanchez that he hadn't passed it. I think he just gets very quite easily let down by others, and that can get to him in a mental sort of way. Whether that affects his performance, I'm not too sure. Like people say, he goes missing in big games all the time. but he needs other players around him to be working for him to play his best stuff. But as someone else put in the chat, he's used to losing to Barcelona. They lost a 5-0 to him once, so for Real Madrid. So he's used to that. So yeah.
And in fairness, Thierry Henry often went missing in big games, so he's not the first, so and he won't be the last. Yeah. The just quickly before I ask John another question, with Alexis, I'm getting a little. I agree with John. First of all, he's not above criticism. There was this sort of unwritten rule, say, "Oh, you can't criticize Alexis." It's like certain players are above criticism. I do completely disagree with that. I think it's fair that everybody should get criticism. I'm getting a little bit tired of people that are saying, "Oh, he's fucking shit. Oh, he's done. Oh, he's not the player he was. Oh, he's gone back." I think the guy's just knackered. He hasn't looked the same since his injury, since he came back for the injury. He's played football solidly for 2 straight years. He had no pre-season, not with the rest of the team. Do you just think that maybe this summer he just needs to put his feet up? We all know he won't, of course. He'll be out doing triathlons or something. But do you have any concerns on that front, or do you just think it is just this run of form?
I think that I actually thought he was good today. Bar the chances he missed, I thought he played well. I thought he took the ball away from a lot of Barcelona's players, got the play moving. And what I liked more was that he was on the right-hand side for a lot of the game. It's something that we've really not allowed him that chance. He's always been on the left. He's always had the same trick: run down the side, cut inside, either pass it or have a shot. It's the same thing over and over again. And him on the right, this time it allowed him to run across the pitch and run down the right-hand side, play balls across, and get involved in the play a lot more than it was. It allowed him a lot more freedom on that right-hand side because he can either go left or right, whereas on the left-hand side he can only go to his right because he can't use his left foot for shit. So I honestly, I'm not worried. I completely agree with you saying people going, oh, he's shit. I think it's because simply that a lot of people were criticised for not having a go at Sanchez because he was one of the world-class players. So they thought, okay, so if we start having a go at Sanchez in his bad form, people might realise that we've got a little bit of knowledge about football. But they obviously, again, they've taken it too far. So I'm not worried about him. I think he's got the quality to come back round. Someone had the cheek the other day to say that last year was above his level. And that completely just like, I can't remember who it was. I think I have an idea, but to me, honestly, your knowledge, if you think that's above him, is completely. People going, yeah, he didn't do as well as he did at Barcelona. Well, of course he didn't. He's one of those. I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Dani Alves, and he said that Alexis is a protagonist player. He needs to be one of the best players at the club to really show his best form, and he wasn't that at Barcelona because he had the likes of Messi and other players around him. So. And Iniesta and Xavi and the like. So he was never going to be the protagonist in that side. But Arsenal he is, and that's why he had such a great season last season. As you said, he is just knackered. He is so knackered and just play, and he wants to play. That's the problem with him. It's a reoccurring cycle because at the end of the day, he wants to play football and he's not willing to give himself a rest ever. So it's going to be like that.
And for people in the chat that may not necessarily sort of get what I mean when I say he's knackered, I don't mean. He's a professional athlete and all the cliches that go with it. I'm not saying that he physically goes home and is out of breath. What I'm saying is that he looks tired. His game looks tired. The things that he's trying seem to be the same, as we've said on this show, the same things: the cut inside, the shoot from distance. It just feels to me like he just needs a bit of a freshen up. And I do wonder if we maybe rushed him back a bit. Obviously he's fit enough to come back, otherwise he wouldn't be playing. But I just feel it's the same with Coquelin. Long spell of injury. It takes players a little bit of time to get up to proper speed and to their level. So I just think that's an issue. John, I'm going to ask you a brutal question here because I know you like to lay it all on the line.
Go for it.
Should we as Arsenal fans be worried? I could just put a full stop there, but I won't. Should we as Arsenal fans be worried that our 2 biggest ever signings are Barcelona and Real Madrid rejects?
It's
good, isn't it?
I think weirdly the Alexis one is slightly more questionable because I think Ozil was forced out of the door for financial reasons more than he was a reject. And I think they're 2 very different players to compare anyway. It's very difficult to compare them. I think Barca, again, he was sort of let go because of Suarez coming in, and he wasn't going to get played, and they needed to recoup some money. I think there is a slight question mark over him. The difference is certain players can do it in some leagues and they can't in others. You've seen Sanchez last year; it was amazing. So you know he's got the ability. Is there a case of a one-hit wonder sort of thing that can happen with some players? I don't think that's the case. I do think there is some truth in the tiredness argument, the amount of games he's played, because he hasn't had a summer off for, I think it's like 3 years now with the Copa America World Cup and all that kind of thing. But he needs to improve his form himself. I also think, weirdly, he not necessarily works quite well with Ozil. I think it was Barney Ronay did a piece earlier this week. Was it this week? It might have been last week, about him and Ozil and the team together. And I'm not sure they actually work particularly well together, which doesn't make sense because he is a runner, which is what you think Ozil would want. But I get what you mean. I don't think they're rejects though. I think someone like I don't know, like Huntelaar or Schneider, they're rejected players from those sort of big teams. I think they are two players who had to be moved out simply to get more money in. If it wasn't Ozil, it was going to be Di Maria, who happened to go the next summer. You know,
and eventually was, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I think it's just a case of they have to churn over players, and that's just the way those clubs are run. I do think it's slightly worrying that there's talk of Ozil and contract talks, and the fact he still hasn't signed one, because that to me stinks of, I'm not sure if he wants to stay here anymore. And if one goes, then the other one looks around and goes, maybe this isn't the club that I should have come to. So, but no, I get you. I understand what you mean, but no, I don't think they're rejects.
No,
I don't think they're like failures or anything like that at the club. I think Suarez, I think Sanchez at Barca was a strange one for me. It didn't make sense. I never quite got why he went there.
I might have been being a little bit provocative.
No, I get you. I think Sanchez actually would have been. To me, he's a Real Madrid player, not a Barcelona style player. The way he was at Udinese, obviously playing up front with Di Natale, and he was played more as a second striker. He wasn't really a winger. He seemed like he should have gone to Madrid, not Barca. It didn't really make sense because I know like his passing stats were probably good tonight, but he doesn't keep the ball very well compared to, especially the way we want to play. That's not his strong point. His strong point is running with the ball and taking people on, which is not what you want. Ozil wants someone to run and just receive the ball at the last minute. Sanchez wants to take the ball the whole way himself.
Yeah. I think that's a very good point. Tom, I want to ask you just before we take some questions. The thing that John highlights there, I totally agree with the Ozil Sanchez thing. For me, it's never quite worked, and the reason I think it doesn't work is in this system, the 4-2-3-1. In my opinion, and I'm intrigued to get your opinion on this, is that you need a tricky, quick feet ball playing number 10. I don't think an Ozil type of number 10 fits this system very well. And what I mean by that is if you look at the top teams that play this system, off the top of my head, I'll say PSG. Now, the PSG play far better in that system when they play a Di Maria in a free role behind an Ibrahimovic, or even an Ibrahimovic in the role, rather than a Pastore, who is arguably more of an Ozil type player, a bit languid, a bit slower. And this is the reason why I would like to see Arsenal go for a Fekir type player, because he's more of a Freddie Ljungberg, or even, dare I say it, a Samir Nasri, who, granted, the guy's a bit of a, his career's gone off a cliff, but when he was at Arsenal, he was that type of player that linked the front man. So do you think there's a bit of a concern that maybe we're trying to push Mesut Ozil into a position where our style, our formation and our setup just doesn't suit his game, playing him where we do?
It's tricky, isn't it? I mean, I'm very much in the favour of us playing a 4-3-3, like in the same way that Barcelona do. So you have the holding midfield and you have the two centre mids in front with two wingers. That's how I would like us to play, because you could play Santi and Jack as that two midfield with Coquelin in behind. I think that would. But then you have to go, but where would Ozil play? And it's very much, we seem to be, and it sounds really harsh on Ozil, but accommodating the guy because we really couldn't turn him down when we knew he was available. Like, you cannot turn that player down. If you know you can get him, go out and get him, because it's going to improve us. If it means playing a system that accommodates him, it's probably will be better than without him. I just feel that it's possible we could go into the market and possibly buy a player that would suit Arsenal better. And it sounds incredible to say that Ozil doesn't suit Arsenal because he's a passing player that. And we play a passing style, but you've made the point that he's not quick. He's quick when he gets up to top speed, but he's not an accelerative player. He's really not. He's not a player like Insigne, for instance, or John Ono just gets up to speed so quickly. It's unbelievable. But it's just like Sophie's choice, isn't it? So it's either you get rid of Ozil and you play a different system that fits us better, but that means that we're getting rid of Ozil. It's incredible to think about us not having Ozil at the moment because of what the things that we know he can do. But maybe there's an alternate reality where we don't have Ozil and we have someone who's a better centre midfielder rather than a better number 10 who plays next to the likes of Santi Cazorla, and we play better with it with two wingers. So it's something I think that the club maybe needs to look at.
Or you change the formation, instead of 4-2-3-1, you go 4-3-2-1, and you basically say, right, well, I mean, let's be honest. I think John said it at times, that you've said it at times. We've all said we'd like a wide forward. Let's be perfectly honest. There's not really much point in buying a wide forward because we don't play wide as it is. So the one other argument could be that you actually put Alexis and Ozil both as 10s behind a centre forward. And I think the worry that I have with Meza playing where he does is that our whole ethos under Wenger was often fast attacking, counter-attacking football, breaking at speed. If you look at the heyday of, I know we're going back to the old days, but the days of the days of sort of the fast breakaway type of football, and the days where we would be so fast in transition, we've now almost become a side that pass our way through, and I think that's the worry. It's the lack of pace. Tom's just died, so what's your thoughts, John, on that? Do you worry that there isn't enough pace in this side in the right areas?
No, but I still think we're playing the wrong system. The only width we have is from our fullbacks, who are quick. So that I don't think there's a lack of pace. I think we play too slowly at times. We don't play quick enough. I don't think you have to be fast, a fast runner or anything like that. You just have to play the ball quicker. You've said how much we miss like Santi because he can dictate the pace of the play. He can speed things up. We don't have that in the middle. Ozil, sometimes he gets the ball and he looks up and he's ready to play the pass instantly, but so there's not always the run for him. Then other times you have Welbeck and he's constantly on the shoulder ready to make that run off the centre back, maybe run the channel. So you just have to play the game quicker. You don't necessarily need fast players. You just need fast brains and faster feet. And to do that, because then all you've got to do is just shift the opposition about. And I don't think we do that enough. Like, teams just sit centrally and just sort of gum up the middle and say, okay, you can go wide with it because we know you're not going to cross it because you never do. It's just not the way we play. We like to keep it on the floor. So you just have to play faster and get teams out of position. When we played our best football, we did that. Like the Man United game when we won 3-0, we were just fast, everything, pressed high at the pitch, won the ball up high at the pitch, moved it as quick as possible. It was like, at most, it was two-touch football. And that's the way to play it. You look at Barca; they can slow things down, but when they go for the goal, it's just bang, 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 bang. And I know that's an exceptional team, and they've got the players that can do it. But we've got players that can do that. You just have to get that rhythm in the side.
And again, it only highlights the. I know we've done this. I know we've done this to death. But for me, it only highlights how key Santi Cazorla's injury was, because whilst he isn't the quickest, over a running distance, he's quick. He's quick of feet, quick of mind, and his transition is, when he gets the ball deep, he moves us forward a lot quicker than the likes of Coquelin, than Flamini, than Arteta would, than even El Nene, who are all bring their own individual talent, but I don't think any of them are of the technical level that Santi is.
Yeah, but then that's stupidity, having a squad where you've only got one player who can do that.
Oh, that's a whole other argument. I'm not debating that at all, mate. No. Just on that, and Tom's back with us. I thought you'd gone to hang yourself, Tom. I thought I was going to have to conduct a funeral. But a question from Carl, and just intrigued to get your answer on this. And we will invite questions now, people. So please feel free. John will be making a note. Tom, do you think Carl's question Ozil, is he good enough to make a deep line playmaker? I mean, are we scratching around for a Santi replacement when we've actually already got one? I personally wouldn't trust him looking at his tracking, particularly tonight. But is there an argument to say you could play him, Ozil, in a deeper role?
I don't know. Just because of his, you hit the nail on the head. You can't because of his tracking. I mean, he does get back and tackle sometimes, but he doesn't do enough to vary it doing that. I'd much rather see El Neni in that position rather than Özil, because El Neni does track back. I think one thing we need to say about El Neni is that he needs to be less rash in some of his decision making. He does love to fly into a tackle and get an early yellow card, which could become an issue later on in his career. But Özil, he can only play that number 10 role. He could possibly play on the wing as well, but we need someone fast on that side. It's a massive conundrum about what this club needs to do going forward to make a success. Really, it's something that we could discuss for hours on end, and I'm sure people may make a podcast on that. But I think that this is going to be such a huge summer in terms of the transition of this club, of what is going to change and who's going to take the club forward.
Yeah. As you say, it's probably a podcast for another day, but an interesting thought. Okay, let's pick up a couple. Mr. Hollick, good evening, sir. Brave, more like stupid, Dave, but we're here nevertheless. Right, John. Liam had a question that he was desperate to get answered, so we'll do that one first, shall we? He wanted to ask either you or Tom. Where is it? If Wenger had left after the Champions League final, would another manager still be in the job now with the same performance? I don't think he thinks I'm going to answer it, but I'll just say probably not. But I'll let you guys answer it as well.
No, they would have been sacked. Quite simply, the reason Wenger's still got the job is because of what he's done in his first 10 years. That's why.
And we should also caveat that answer by saying it's impossible to say because we don't know, do we?
Oh no! If it was a different manager, they'd be sacked.
I'm just reading the question again just to make sure I read it right. Would another still be in the job with this? Oh, with the same performance? Okay, probably not. Although actually, with our board, they'd probably been given a 10-year deal by now. Actually, so yeah. Here's a question for Tom then. Everything. Who can we get from Man City when Pep clears out? Who would you take? Should we have Sanya and Clichy? Should we have them back? Actually, get the band back together.
Aguero, he probably won't want Aguero, will he? So we'll just have him.
Genuinely, okay, let me rephrase the question slightly. Sorry, everything. I'm going to hijack your question. How many players, Tom, would you genuinely take from Man City's squad? Take out Aguero because it's a pointless. There's no point even arguing because he wouldn't leave. How many other players would you take? Because I wouldn't take any that I can think of. All right, I'd take him.
Sterling, David Silva.
I wouldn't touch
Sterling with a barge pole.
It doesn't score enough for me.
David Silva we've already got.
You do know there's this bloke called Theo Walcott who plays for us, don't you?
Yeah.
And Sterling's younger and better than him.
And on double the money he's on, and has done probably even less of his career.
Bianca than Sterling.
Yeah.
You asked the question. I'd have him over Walcott. I'd have De Bruyne. I'd have David Silva.
Is your name Tom?
Sorry, it was just.
I'm kidding.
Which one of the Brazilian ones, the midfielders? I don't know which one.
Fernando.
Which one's the good one?
Fernandinho is the decent one, but he still isn't that great.
I can't remember which one it is. The better one?
Neither of them are a massive upgrade on Coquelin. Would be my argument. No. I think.
They're better than Fernandinho.
Yeah, probably. But I suppose.
I'd take Iheanacho over Akpom.
Actually, that's probably fair. Yeah. I don't.
And he's mates with Iwobi, isn't he? Are they? He's Nigerian, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's Nigerian. Yeah.
I like Mark Lebruno's message there. I take company. He loves an injury. Yeah, good shout. No, I just think it on a grander scale. I think if you look at the.
I'd have Otamendi over Gabriel.
I'm not sure I would, mate. To be honest,
I would. I know he's got a better beard.
Hair.
He's got a terrible haircut. Come on, what's that half shave thing? Or what's that about? God. I don't know. I guess the bigger point I'm making is I don't think there's that much difference. Weirdly, I think the team with the best squad in the Premier League is still Chelsea. Obviously, we know it's happened yet, but they've probably got the strongest squad. If you look at
Technically, you could say Leicester had the strongest squad because they're winning the league, but
yeah, if you look at player for player, if you wrote them all down, you'd look at Chelsea and go, that's an impressive list of names. But as we've said on this pod a few times, it doesn't mean that they make the best players. So
I'd take their manager.
Of course you would, Liam. Here's another one then. From Mark LeBruno, actually. Tom, you'd be probably better to answer this one. Would Isco fit better than Ozil?
It's interesting because he's a lot quicker. He's like the guy you did describe playing in that role. Would he fit? He probably would in our team. Yeah. And someone replied to that saying, but he's only one-footed. Well, I'm sorry, but Ozil certainly doesn't have a right foot. So, yeah, he probably would fit better. He's not better than Ozil, but he fits in our team better. So, yeah, interesting. He's younger.
Very Nasri-esque as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's more versatile as well. So.
Yeah. Twice I've mentioned that little runt tonight. I should stop it, really.
James Rodriguez.
Oh, James, yeah. I bet Real Madrid must sit there quietly at night and go, we sold Angel Di Maria and we bought James Rodriguez. What were we thinking? Anyway, question.
You're going to make me argue with you.
Trust me. Alan Wiseman wants to know if I would sell Callum from the Pirates to the Arsenal. Probably not, Alan, because if I sold Callum to Arsenal, we would teach him how to not shoot. So probably not. His goal record would be terrible.
Just quickly, sorry, someone asked a question in the chat, but they haven't replied to me, so I don't know if they saw it. Ian Bones, if you can write what the comments were or what you're referencing in the chat box, I'll try and answer your question.
Comments?
Yeah.
Comments?
It was something to do with a press conference yesterday, but I didn't see what the comments were, so hopefully you can write it in the chat box.
Okay.
You can answer the question. Yeah.
No, that's cool. And Liam, you're right. A bit of disagreement is absolutely fine. We're all for a bit of disagreement. It's all good. Makes for good discussion.
You're a wanker.
Thanks, mate. I can cut you off anytime I like. Here's another question, and John, you can have this one. If you had to cull the squad, Christ on a bike, this is going to town. If you had to cull the squad, but you could keep 5 players, who would they be? That's a hell of a clear out.
Just 5.
Yeah, so you keep 5 basically.
Okay, check.
Oh, come on, John.
Check Alexis Ozil. They're the best 3 players in the squad. And then after that,
hold on. If we cull, if we sell Ozil, do we get 42 million back?
That's a good question. Yeah,
I'd keep those 3, and then after that, Bellerin, I'd keep. And Jesus.
Coquelin?
No.
Nacho?
I'd actually. Everyone's going to go, no, I can't believe you're going to keep him. But I'd actually say Ramsey, because I think he's got the best future.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I agree with True Gooner actually. He's picked the 5 I'd keep. So good shout there, True Gooner. Check Ozil, Sanchez, Cos, Monreal. That's the 5 I'd keep as well. So, but it is tough because there's a lot of other players I would keep. Like I know people are going to laugh at this, but a fit Jack Wilshere, Santi Cazorla.
Yeah, there we go. Ramsey, fuck off. I knew I'd get it.
Of course, I'd keep Flamini just for shit.
I hate stats, but go check out our win percentage with Ramsey in the team and Ramsey out of it.
Whamsy.
I can't believe you're not keeping Arteta, Chris, if I'm honest.
Don't start.
It's
Thomas.
because I'm not Welsh. No, everything I'm not Welsh. It's just my surname is Welsh. My nan was Welsh. He's Welsh.
There's only room for one Welshman in this ABW family. He would murder the rest if there was more. So, yeah. God bless him. The comments, John. Do you want to address these comments? Now, I haven't seen them myself. I saw the Arsenal lose their shit over this last night. I'm 99% that these comments have been taken out of context because they're.
I saw the full interview because I read it because I thought, maybe they've changed it slightly because it was who published it? John Cross, I think it was in the Mirror.
Oh well, of course it's got to be true if John Cross wrote it. So.
My favourite journalist. He built the club. Yeah, it was strange and it was really badly worded.
Can I give you the quote?
I assume that he was talking in the concept of he's built the club. He didn't mean to use the word built, but he
exactly
meant pushed to the level it's at now. Either way, even if that's what he did mean, I think it's really stupid.
Can I read you the quote?
Yeah, go for it.
Just so everyone who hasn't heard it. So the quotes are, and I think the second sentence is very key here. If you just
Who
take
says
the
this,
one,
by the way?
Arsene Wenger.
Wenger.
He was asked in the press ahead of the game tonight that he was asked what he thought of his achievements of the last 19 years, and his exact quote was, "I have no doubt about my huge motivation. I just think I built the club in the way I did it, with hard work, with my external resources." Now the key is that's one sentence. The next sentence is very important to put it into context, where he says, "If you compare the club at the moment I arrived and the club where it is today, we have moved forward without any money from anybody, just the money produced by the quality of work." And I think that's the second sentence, exactly what you said, John. I think the second sentence...
I still think it's completely the wrong thing to say, and I also think that is, whether he intended it or not, it's coming across that he's putting himself above the club, and that's wrong. And no, the club would be where, whether it be here or lower or higher, whether he was here or not. That's sorry, Arsene, the club's first, and no, you don't talk about it like that. That did annoy me, and I know maybe it has been misconstrued slightly, but that doesn't help, and he knows that doesn't help. And frankly, he's an idiot for the way he said that. He's been, as he said himself, he's been at the club for 20 years. He should know how to do a press conference. That is not how you answer that question.
Okay, I will disagree for a second.
Well, he's asking. I'm sorry, but if you answer a question like that, he's asking for trouble. He's asking for people to complain and moan.
I think he's asking for trouble for the likes of the media the way they are now, that will pick up on every single... I mean, Christ almighty, if I was picked up on every single quote I had on here, I'd never come on here. I mean, I think it's
that's his job. He has to do that.
And this is my job.
Yeah, I know, but there's a difference. He's the manager of the football club. You can't say things like that. You cannot say things like that.
And
it's really stupid.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, chat box. I'm not a Wenger apologist, Trafalgar, and Jim. Yes, he can do plenty wrong in my eyes. Trust me.
Yeah, Kelly put it perfectly. He's too smart to not have said that on purpose.
I disagree.
Maybe he did say it on purpose just to wind people up. I don't know. Maybe he sits at home going ho ho ho, with a really bad, terrible impression of a Frenchman. But no, he sits at home drinking his wine and eating garlic and whatever else the cheese and eating surrender monkeys do.
Surround John. I have to just say as well, Majib, if you think I'm an AKB, my friend, go back and listen to another podcast where I clearly identified myself as an Arsenal fan. I am not an AKB. I am not a WOB because I'm not 12.
Holic does it. He says it's not his native language. I understand that. I totally get that. But he's been here long enough. Sorry, he knows about that. He knows how to respond. I
think you make an excellent case for your point of view, and again, I'm not saying you're wrong because I like you, so I wouldn't ever say that. I personally think that people look. Let me ask you, Tom, quickly, because it's only fair you have your say on this. Do you think, and this is devil's advocate, I'm not saying that this is exactly the way it should be, but in the interest of a fair debate, do you think that some people, and I'll leave it at that, some people are looking for things now? They're just looking for things to beat. Basically, if it's almost got to the stage where if Arsene wants to go to the toilet for a number 2, everyone's reporting that he's got his trousers down before his arse has even hit the seat, as I would say. It's almost like people are second guessing everything now. They're looking for things to beat him with, and these people that have made their minds up, rightly or wrongly, are essentially looking for those things to have a go at him for. Is that fair? Or is that an argument?
I think there's an argument for it. I think that there are people out there who look for things to beat the manager with. As soon as an interview comes out, they will pick out selectively things that he said, and it then comes out in the wrong context. This isn't me trying to defend him or what his comments were or whatever. I agree with a lot of people saying that it was Herbert Chapman that built Arsenal. It wasn't Arsene Wenger. But I certainly agree with Wenger when he said that when he arrived, the club was in this place, and now it is in a better place. I agree with him saying that. I think there's certainly been a bit of a normal distribution curve in terms of he arrived, the club's fortunes were increased, and then it's in a slight decline. But there are reasons behind that, and I tweeted out this morning saying I completely understand. And I was having a conversation with David, and I said that I completely understand the 10-year trophy drought and why we had it. I just feel that now it's time. and while we agreed and we just said it's a sad thing that it's happening because we know the man doesn't deserve the abuse that he's getting. I've seen a lot of people tweet saying Wenger deserves every bit of abuse that he's getting because he's lied to the club. But I can tell you for right now, if you expect the next manager to come in to be completely transparent, you're going to be you're going to be a bit shocked.
It's going to be in for a shock.
So,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So there's no manager that's going to come in and just reveal everything about the club. That's not what a fan doesn't know everything that goes on inside the club. The fan supports the team. And you're never going to know what's going on in the inner workings of the club. So I don't think that you're entitled to that. So
yeah, no, I agree.
Sorry, just to respond to someone in the chat saying that Arsenal wouldn't be known without Wenger. That's complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah, no.
I'm not in any way diminishing what he's done at the club. What he's done is amazing, and he totally revolutionised football in this country when he came here and changed the nutrition and the fitness, the speed of the game, the style of it. You know, when he came in, it totally changed the face of English football. It really did, and everyone else had to catch up to him. And that's amazing, and you can never take away from that. And he was part of the team that helped build the stadium we've got now, and he was very helpful in that and instrumental in it, and that's fantastic. But that doesn't mean he's above criticism, and it doesn't mean that he can then say he's built us to where we are now. It's not just him; it's the other people. People like Danny Fiesman, who was hugely influential in the club. People like David Dean, people like that. It's not his club. And just the way he worded it, and maybe it was a genuine mistake, but I don't believe he's that stupid. I think he's too smart to not know what he's saying.
I do, as I say, I'm not pro or against whatever argument, but I do genuinely think that it's I think I'd be intrigued actually to ask Simon, our blogger, about this, who goes to press conferences. Managers are asked very quick fire questions, and I think it's very, very easy to. I mean, Kris, we've got WhatsApp groups where we can say something to one another and offend somebody and think, how on earth have I offended you? And it's just literally because you've got one word wrong. And I just think that some people have maybe read into it. What I will say, John, is I do agree with you. If it was a dig. Or if he has intentionally said it, then I can't agree. I'm completely with you on that. So no, it's a good debate. I'm having had that debate with you. I'm really glad that I've barely been on Twitter for the last 4 days, because I probably would have thrown my computer out the window. Because if that's all people have been arguing about for the last 3 days,
I think that's the thing. I saw some people say, are the arson quotes real and whatever, and then that was obviously what it was all about. And when I read it, it did annoy me, and I had to go and check the interview, and I read the whole thing, and that was apparently was no edits in it, and that was the full quote, and I was like, wow, yeah, it's was just stupid to say.
It's a glaring example, isn't it, on the broader spectrum of how different things annoy different people? Because like obviously you said that you had no issue with the banner, for example, and yeah,
I understand people's not liking it. I get that. That's fine. It just doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think it's because the difference between Arsenal saying something and some random fan that I've never met or never going to speak to or never see or never meet saying something, I couldn't give a monkey's what another fan says. If they say that, it's like, cool, that's your opinion, brilliant. Yeah. But the difference is that Arsene Wenger is representing Arsenal Football Club, so he does represent everyone. A load of blokes with a banner up in a stadium, just because they're Arsenal fans, they don't represent Arsenal fans. They represent those people who are holding the banner up. That's not representative of everyone and everything about the club. People don't look at that and go, oh, every Arsenal fan in the world instantly wants him gone. They just think, oh, a couple of people don't like Wenger.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Just think it's interesting how, as you say, different things can affect people in different ways. Like because the Wenger quotes didn't bother me whatsoever, but as you say, it did irk you slightly.
Again, that's dependent on how you take the quote as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I've taken it another way, so it's a bit different.
I guess what I'm saying is, people, it's okay to have differing views, and also, by the way, just because you have a view does not mean you are one thing or the other. You can be both. It is true. Let's have a couple more, and then we'll go off to our merry little worlds. Tom, Oliver Grant, if we lost Ozil and Sanchez and got mediocre replacements, where do you think we would come? I suppose the answer is in the question, isn't it?
We come in a mediocre position.
I agree.
I think that's the only way. I think that Ozil and Alexis have, while other clubs have improved, they've kept us in that like region of the top four. I think what we've not done is buy another Ozil and Alexis type player to add to the squad on top of that. To take us above that position. I think that's where we've let ourselves down really. But I think I've been a bit quiet tonight, just because there's been a lot of it's a lot of negativity. And I think that it's off the back of what I think is actually a positive result. I think we all knew that we couldn't expect to go through tonight, but I think that we showed ourselves as a positive turnaround. I think after the performance we got against Watford that was so lackluster and so without need and without energy and without commitment, what you got tonight is a performance to say that I think we did compete with Barcelona tonight, and if we did take our chances, the scoreline could have been very, very different. It's just a case of we still need to get the right players in and that are more clinical and need to be in the right positions. I think that, and the whole negativity and the irony of people saying in the chat it's Arsenal FC, not Arsenal FC. Well, I can guarantee that 80% of the things you talk about is Arsene Wenger, which is the most ironic thing in the world. You should be talking about the club, not the manager, and then go on about him all the time as a negative factor. But I don't know. I'm a bit disappointed at the reaction tonight. I really was. I thought that it was going to be a night where I think the result we got tonight can take us forwards as a club. I think that we need to put this whole managerial stuff. We know nothing's going to change until after the season at least. So I think we just need to focus on the positives we can. Because at the end of the day, people are getting so depressed about our form at the moment. And I think this was a positive result tonight. That we can take forward into Everton, and I agree with you. I think we're going to get a result at Everton, and it could turn our season around. So, I just wanted to see a bit more positivity.
Yeah, here. I'd replace the word result with performance, but I agree with you. Yeah, I think it's a positive performance.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
We didn't go there and just stick 20 men behind the ball and hope for. I know we can't literally put. You know what I'm saying. We didn't just go there and go right, come and beat us. We actually did have a bit of a go, and but for some poor finishing, it could have been different. The argument, of course, would be had we have gone 2-0 up, Barca probably would have decided to start playing at a high level and could have turned it on. They could have gone to another gear. That's the other argument. But I'm totally with you.
I wouldn't be as down as I have been if I thought that the players that are in form that deserve to play will play on Saturday. That's my worry. I want to see Welbeck. I want to see Iwobi. I think they've performed well enough. I think there's even possibly an argument for Kieran Gibbs maybe starting over Monreal, who don't get me wrong, Monreal's amazing, but I thought Gibbs had done really well in the 2 games that he came back. There's been some good performances from certain players, and all I want to see now, from now to the end of the season, is because we haven't got any other games, so it's just it's once a week. Is just put the best players out who are performing at the best out on the pitch, and just do that, and just run that for the end of the season. And if we Leicester drop some points and we overtake Spurs and jump up into first, and somehow we claw back our sort of fight into the title, then brilliant. That's all I want to see now. But I'm worried that Arsene Wenger, and it's not just him, all managers have it. They have their pecking order of players or who should play, 4 games, and I'm worried that the people who, well, at least in my opinion, deserve to play, aren't going to get the game time that they should.
Fair argument. I'm going to hijack 2 quick questions, and then I've just got 1 or 2 more, and then we'll be done. So just quickly, 2 questions I saw. Doc T has asked 2 questions, and I've just picked out this one. He said, based on our form this season, who could we have beaten in the last 16? I'm just going to answer that one quickly and say that Barcelona was not the most ideal draw. And I think that we would have beaten Dynamo Kiev. I do think we would have beaten Benfica. I do think we would have beaten PSV Eindhoven. I think we probably would have had a shot at beating Man City, if I'm completely honest, based upon the fact we know them so well. Wolfsburg, yeah. But that being said, of course, it would only have got us to another round where we would have then drawn. And you've got to be very fortunate in this competition to not draw at least 2 very good sides. So, it's a tough one, but fair question. The other one I wanted to hijack slightly is from Oliver Grant, just purely because he talks about a man I love very deeply, as you both know. He wanted to know if only we had signed Ibra, and still had Wenger, where do you think we would have come? Now, he's asked that to Tom, but Tom, I'm going to hijack it because I love Ibra. And I'm just going to bang the drum and say, if there was any opportunity for us to go and get Ibrahimovic for one season, I would love us to go and do it. And I say that for two reasons, really. One is that he's still, at 34, one of the world's best strikers. Anyone that debates that, I don't. Sorry, you don't watch enough football, in my humble opinion, because he just is fantastic. And the other thing I love about Ibra is that all this flack that the players get, all of these players like your Theo Walcotts that seem a bit flaky, he would not stand for that at all. And I know that some people will say, well, Wenger wouldn't allow him to be the player he is, and blah, blah, blah. Zlatan Ibrahimovic doesn't give a monkey's what the manager says. He doesn't give a monkey's what the board says. He doesn't give a monkey's what the fans say. He just goes on the pitch and just leads and just dominates teams on his own, and he drags players up to his standard. And he's played in some, John, you'll know, he's played in some not particularly stunning Juventus and AC Milan sides. He played in the Barcelona side that had good players but wasn't the level it's at now. He certainly joined a PSG side that wasn't at the level it's at now. And I think that signing a player of that almost of that much arrogance and of that much personal belief in his own ability would actually maybe drag a few personalities in our club forwards, and you'd actually start to see, would an Aaron Ramsey, would a Theo Walcott, would a Kieran Gibbs, would they actually lift their level and go, bloody hell, this guy is the real deal. So yes, there is the argument for the disablement of the dressing room, or the fractions in the dressing room. I don't know about you two, but I don't look at our dressing room now and I don't think the experiment of everybody loving each other is particularly working. So let's cock some shit up. Why not? So I just wanted to get that one in. Last question. I'll give you both a go on this just so that you can have a word. Can you see a point where we get to the situation, it's a good question to finish on for me and Bones, where we get to the situation at Arsenal that mirrors what happened at Liverpool with the Hicks-Gillett ownership? I can't, but what's your views? Tom, I'll start with you and finish with John.
I'll go with John quick first.
Okay, John, I'll start with you. I'll finish with Tom.
Yeah, it's a little bit worrying. I think whatever happens when Arsenal eventually goes, whoever comes in is going to have it really, really difficult. It also doesn't matter on what manager you get. You can go and get Pep Guardiola if you wanted. It's still not a guarantee that it's going to work, because there's no such thing as guarantees in football. Doesn't matter who you get. The problem is that when Arsene goes, it's not just him that goes. You lose. We don't have a director of football. He does all that. We don't have a huge negotiating team. It's very small, and there's lots of other jobs that have to be filled when he goes. So the new manager coming in has to struggle with all of that. Then you add into the fact that we are owned by a man who doesn't care about trophies. And is only interested in having us, so it adds to his portfolio, so he can borrow against. He doesn't actually borrow against our club, but he uses it as to get lower borrowing rates. Then yeah, it could go the way of Liverpool, unfortunately, like Hicks and Gillett did there, and that is really worrying. That is the part of the argument I hear for some people saying we shouldn't get rid of Wenger because he's protecting us in some way from that, from our board. I understand that, but if I could do anything at Arsenal and some way to unite the fans, I would get all the fans to change their anti-Arsenal banners and whatever. And if you want to get rid of him still, that's cool, that's fine, do it. I mean, I think it's time for a change for a manager. But everyone have a banner for get rid of Kroenke, get him out of the club, get some people back. Like Hillwood, he was a bit of a knob, to be honest. He wasn't great.
He speaks very highly of you, John.
Yeah, oh, he loves me. He was, in my opinion, he was a bit of a knob. But he did say the right thing. This man coming over from America, selling us fairy tales of how much money he's going to spend and everything else, is a complete myth. And he's, I don't know, maybe everyone didn't fall for it, but some people did. I know I did. I thought, okay, we've got an owner with some money. Maybe he won't spend it, but at least we're secure. We've got a secure base to work from. He doesn't give a shit. And you do have to, whilst changing the manager is one thing that probably does at some point, or I think in the summer needs to change, but eventually will do, you also need to change that board, because there's just no one on it who has anything about football, knows anything about football about him. Gazidis maybe a tiny bit, because he helped, I think he helped with MLS setup, didn't he? And
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah,
other leagues
yeah.
around the world. But there's not enough football men there. So that's the biggest thing that needs to change at Arsenal. And yeah, it is. We could end up. Oh, I don't want to be Scousers. God,
No,
end up like a bunch of fucking. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna start swearing now. Yeah, stop.
all right. Well, we'll finish with Tom. And Tom, what I just want to ask you a similar question, but taking it in a slightly different angle. So John's made the case as to why it could end up the same way. I want to ask your views on. I'm growing a little bit frustrated at the amount of people I hear that. Don't get me wrong, I'm as much Kroenke can do one as much as that's where my issue lies with our club at the moment at board level personally. Certainly way before manager level. What I want to know from you is I'm getting a bit uncomfortable with the amount of people that are suddenly backing Alisher Usmanov. I'm very concerned that people are just looking for him because everyone knows he's there, and because he's come out in the press and said, well, I'd give Arsene Wenger 200 million, I'd buy these players, I'd make this. No disrespect, but he's not going to sit in a press conference and go, well, I'm very wealthy, and what I'm going to do is buy the club, and I'm pretty much going to do nothing with it, just like the guy is now. But please put me in. He's going to say what people want him to say, and he is going to be the voice that everyone, people are saying, oh, we should go for it. And John's just put in the chat there, the club are crying out for a Bob Wilson type of character, surely.
That wasn't me, that was Hollick. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, Mr. Hollick has put it, yeah. But, I would like to see somebody, even whether it be Usmanov, I mean, that is... I'm not sure I trust Usmanov's any more than Kroenke. What I would say though is that surely there are other people out there, and I don't mean the fans because I don't think we'll ever be fan owned, but surely there's somebody with Arsenal blood that could be part of somebody that took over the club. Would you say that's a more sensible way to go rather than just saying, oh, let's just take the petrodollar and basically be what we said we never wanted to be?
I think that. You could have like Usmanov, Kroenke, whatever thoughts on that. You could have people on the board that knew more about football, and the relationship, and get the relationship back a lot stronger between the club and the fans, to have more of a desired effect. Because I think that the club has money. We know that the club's got millions. There's still obviously a little bit of financial restriction in terms of if we do spend a lot of money, there is still some financial backlash, not compared to the Man City and the like, who can just spend millions and whatever. Your point on Usmanov coming in is, of course, he's going to say all these things, and people are going, like, they're saying if Usmanov came in, he would demand success. Well, like, you say that because that's what he said. Like, that's all you know is what he said in open letters, and of course he wants to get into the club because it's the strongest position financially for him as well. He could come in, he might come in and spend loads of money, but we don't know that. I think the club's crying out not just for Bob Wilson, but you're the likes of Liam Brady and that, to get them on the board as well. They're clubs who know what the fans want, they're players who know what it's like being a fan of the club. And like Mark Redmond's just put in the chat, he would, Tom. How do you know?
We don't know.
You don't know. All you know is what he's said in open letters to the club. He said that he wants more success at the club. He wants Wenger to do this. He would allow. I've spoken to people who said they've spoken to him personally on his yacht in Monaco when we went to play Monaco.
Oh God!
And apparently he was saying to fans, like, I do this, I do that. Of course
he would, yeah.
Of course you want the fans on side. You're not going to want the fans to hate you. You're going to want this massive uprising of people to go, we want Usmanov in, we want Kroenke out, when you have absolutely no idea what the guy's going to do when he comes in. Absolutely none whatsoever. You don't know him personally. All you know is what he's read. And all you know about Arsene Wenger is what he says and what he does. And that's enough for you to go batshit crazy about him. So just because the guy says something you don't like, you go mad about it. So just because this guy is saying the complete opposite and is saying something you like and you can get on board with, of course you're going to support him. I mean, it's just a bit of like I don't want to insult people, but it's just a bit easy in a way. It's easy to be on the back of Usmanov train. It's an easy thing to say because you know that everyone else will agree with you, and you know that he's come out and he's said stuff that is like positive for the club, but there is absolutely no guarantee that that's going to happen. You've got loads of clubs who spent millions, and it's taken them ages, and they've bought the wrong players. I mean, Liverpool have spent millions of pounds. Spurs have spent millions of pounds, and they're only just starting to compete at the top level now. There's no guarantee on things whatsoever.
we're all experts from our sofas, but the truth is we don't know. And Everton are delighted with their takeover, but rightly their fans are like, it's brilliant, it's fantastic, but we still need to see what's going to happen next, and there's no guarantees. And the truth is, Roman Abramovich and what he's done with Chelsea, I think if you ask a lot of Chelsea fans, I'm not 100% sure that, John, one, I'm not 100% sure that every Chelsea fan would say they're 100% behind what Abramovich does. If you look at how he's treated some of their ex-players, the situation he did with Cech, obviously when Mourinho didn't want to let him go, he went above his head. I mean, there's certain things. I think the only clubs really that have taken the petrodollar, if you will, and have been largely successful in everything they've done are Man City and PSG, because they have basically taken on.
Well, Chelsea have.
Oh yeah. No, what I mean is, if you look at the whole picture, the community, the things they've done, the stadiums they've built, the infrastructure they've built. Whereas with Chelsea, I still get the feeling that when Abramovich is bored, he'll be off. I still think that will happen. And I hope it.
We all thought that when
tomorrow.
he took over, and it was, he'll be done in a year, maybe 2 max.
We all hoped, didn't we? Yeah, we all hoped. I mean, yeah, they've been successful as a club. I just get the impression that the PSG guys, if you look at, the Man City guys, if you look at what they've done for the infrastructure of the surrounding area and the ground and the local council, and they provided jobs, and you can tell that they are here for the long-term investment. And I think the same with PSG. I remain unconvinced with Abramovich, but I could be wrong. I just don't. I don't know. There's something that doesn't quite sit right with me. Just to say, well, we hate Kroenke, that's fine. I get that, but to blindly just say, oh well, let's go and get the next guy with lots of money from Russia, or wherever it's not Russia,
Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan.
He's a Russian citizen, though. Yeah.
Yeah. As I say, and look at what's happened to Aston Villa. As Tom rightly says, there's not enough football people on that board, and their club has gone to rat shit. And I think I agree with Mr. Hollick, who is always far more wise than any of us. Getting people of a football basis who know Arsenal inside and out on that board is so vital, like so vital. And if Usmanov is as genuine as he says, the David Dean link and whatever. That's where he needs to be. If he's really serious about taking this club on or potentially buying this club, I think he needs to be getting more of those ex-players and legends of the club, or people that understand the Arsenal, on board for any sort of campaign that he could go on to get this club. And let's be honest, we all know that until Stan Kroenke feels he's not a seller. He doesn't sell the people he owns. So. We might have to get used to this. Sadly, I know Danny has strong views on this, so I'll let Danny preach on the pod. That's where we'll draw a line, I think, boys and girls.
Before we go, can we just answer the question which Tyro Adelaide has been putting in continuously?
The lineup for Saturday.
Yes, he's been putting it in all night.
Yeah, I did notice that. So, yeah, sorry, mate. I think we're all agreed the back four: Matt Saka, Koscielny. John, you'd like to see Gibbs. I'm
not necessarily. No, I think there's an argument that he could start. I would start with Monreal, but I think Gibbs is. I'm just saying. I was just talking about players who actually, there's an argument for him where there wouldn't normally be. But yeah, no, it would be the standard back four. Bellerin.
Would we all have Matt Saka, Koscielny over Gabriel at the moment? By the way, just out of interest.
I'd have those two. Yeah.
I'd have Kosh and Pear.
Yeah. Midfield, Coquelin, El Neni,
and Koch. Yeah. That'd be my two. I think that's the only two we've got anyway, isn't it?
I think it is now with Lamini going off. Yeah. Back checks as well. And the three in front of those again. For me, it's Campbell, Alexis, and Ozil for me. In front of those.
Yeah. I can make a case for Iwobi, but
there's a case for Iwobi over
Campbell.
Yeah, over Campbell.
Not sure Iwobi would play very well on that right side, though. Are you? Would you?
No, I mean put Alexis on the right and Iwobi on the left.
Yeah.
I definitely have Welbeck, and you have to play Ozil because you know what you can do. Alexis the same, but yeah, Iwobi. If he's not starting, he needs to be the first person coming off the bench for me.
And I'd be tempted to go with Giroud up front and Welbeck as a sub for one simple reason. If you look at Giroud's record at Goodison, it's pretty decent. And also, Giroud should never start again. Oh, everything Ruvid, you are terrible. I think Giroud is a better option away from home in that game. I think Welbeck's pace as a substitute, I think could be potentially better. I also don't particularly think Funes Mori is brilliant as far as a Giroud type player goes. Don't think he deals with them as well. And Everton's midfield is not the best, sort of going the other way. And I think if you can get at their fullbacks, we can ping in enough balls that Giroud can get in. But I totally understand those that would favour Welbeck. So to me, either or. But personally, I would probably go with Giroud as a starter. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay.
Theo Walcott can sit on the bus with a colouring book or something.
Yeah, or stay in Barcelona if you are. We are terrible. I don't like dissing players, but yeah. Anyway.
Well, someone's put in the chat, starting Iwobi over 140 grand a week. For
Yeah,
Walcott.
I know. It's terrible, isn't it? Bring on Chris Willock. Yes, well, we'll be here anyway after Everton, come rain or shine. What time? It's 12:45, isn't it, on Saturday?
Yeah.
So that rules Danny out.
I think it's me and
somebody will be here. It'll just be a tumbleweed blowing across the screen. It is me, you, and Carl, I believe, John. I think Carl's back with us there. It does say Danny, but that was before it was an early kickoff, so I can rule Danny out right now because he'll be in bed till 11:20 at night. Bless his heart. We love him. So yeah, we'll be back on Saturday. Pod tomorrow. I think Mr. Holick is on, so that's always a good listen. So do tune in. I know Gim and Danny will be there. Do you know what? I can't remember who the other person is tomorrow. It might be Jeff. I don't know. Anyway, there'll be some people and there'll be a pod and they'll be talking and stuff. So do download that. As usual, you can download our podcast later on. Danny will get this put up on iTunes and SoundCloud. And if you want to see more, check out the links below. I think that's what all the kids do, isn't it? As well as say chillax. All the links for the various outlets are in the description underneath. That's it, Mr.
Rami
Holick.
Shaban.
It's Rami Shaban. Sorry, I forgot. Yes, Big Rami is on tomorrow. So thank you, Mr. Holick. See, without you, I am lost, my good man. So yes, Rami Shaban is on tomorrow. So that will be a must listen because he's a very, very, very lovely chap, very well spoken, and still loves the Arsenal. So do tune in. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, John.
Pleasure, as always.
No problem.
Muchos gracias. I'm off to go and spill the blood of a harlot and spread it all across my front garden because that's what I do when I'm dressed like this. So thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you can't see the live stream, that will mean nothing, by the way. So thank you very much. Keep it Arsenal, keep the faith, boys and girls, and we will speak to you after the game on Saturday. Ta-ta, everybody. Sleep tight.
Chillax.